Good afternoon. I'm Avi Hyman, Israeli government spokesman. Today is March 14th, 2024, day 160 of the October 7th war. 160 days on, our war aims remain the same. Destroy Hamas, bring home the hostages, and ensure that Gaza never becomes a threat to us, ever again. I'd like to wish a Ramadan Kareem to Israel's 1.7 million Muslims around the country. Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim friends around the world. Ramadan Kareem to the citizens of the countries with which we have peace agreements, our peace partners in Egypt, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan. Ramadan Kareem to our brave Muslim Israeli soldiers that proudly serve on the front lines. And above all, Ramadan Kareem to the 5 Israeli Muslims being held in the Hamas hellholes of Gaza, namely Yusuf al-Zadna, Hamza al-Zadna, Farhan el-Qadi, Mohammed el-Atrash, and Hisham al-Sayed. May they be released along with all of the hostages to spend time with their friends and family in peace. Next, I want to give you an important update from COGAT, which coordinates and facilitates humanitarian aid entering Gaza. Since the start of this war, 16,850 aid trucks have crossed into Gaza. That's 312,560 tons of aid: food, water, medical supplies, and shelter equipment. In the last week, more than 1,000 aid packages were dropped by parachute. Today, the IDF awaits the arrival of humanitarian aid by sea from the World Central Kitchen Aid Organization, financed by our friends in the United Arab Emirates. It set sail yesterday from Larnaca in Cyprus after a security check. We told you yesterday about 6 aid trucks entering the northern Gaza Strip through a gate. Again, the World Food Programme aid was coordinated with the IDF with security checks at Kerem Shalom. So what's the issue, you might ask? Well, it's pretty simple. Hamas steals the aid. Hamas has orchestrated the hunger. Hamas wants to maximize the suffering of ordinary Gazans. No one in Hamas is hungry. Why? Well, to stop the war, to get an immediate ceasefire, to protect their own skins. Today and every day, there is no limit to the amount of aid that can be delivered into Gaza by land, air, and now even by sea. Now an update from our northern border, where our security forces are operating to restore security to the residents of the north. Israel is responding with force to Hezbollah aggression against our civilian communities in the area. This morning, following sirens in Kfar Blum, the IDF aerial defense array intercepted suspicious aerial targets that crossed from Lebanon into Israel. IDF fighter jets struck Hezbollah terrorists in Kunin a short while ago. The Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon and Syria will be held responsible in violation of UN Security Council resolutions 1559 and 1701. Now for an update on our war to destroy Hamas in Gaza. Mortar shells were fired at Kibbutz Nahal Oz. The Air Force eliminated the terrorists that fired them in central Gaza. In Hamad, our troops destroyed rocket launchers and eliminated 2 terrorists. In Bani Sohila, 5 terrorists in a Hamas weapons storage facility were eliminated after opening fire on IDF troops. And lastly, there was a visit of the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte yesterday. Prime Minister Netanyahu welcomed the Dutch Prime Minister to his office in Jerusalem in their fourth meeting since the outbreak of the war. Prime Minister Netanyahu emphasized that entering Rafah was essential for realizing the goals of the war. The Prime Minister also emphasized that unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state would be considered as an achievement for Hamas. The Prime Minister stressed that Israel is determined to replace UNRWA in the Gaza Strip without hindering the aid, and he thanked the Dutch Prime Minister for freezing financing for the agency. That brings us to an end of today's briefing. I will now take your questions in the chat. Once again, please do state your name and your media outlet with your question.
Thank you, Avi. First question from Giddy Kleinman from the BBC. Earlier this week, Car News and Ynet reported that a shipment of 114,000 tons of flour was released from Ashdod port after much delay and transferred to Kerem Shalom crossing. Can you confirm this shipment was indeed transferred from Ashdod port to the crossing? And can you give more details on where it is now?
Hi, Giddy. Well, it's good to hear from you, my friend. I'm afraid that really is a question for Kogat. I can do bigger picture and policy, but specifics like that will be for Kogat.
Thank you. Next question from David Clement from the News Forum. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister announced $1 million in funding for Palestinian women who have survived sexual abuse based on the unconfirmed reports that Palestinian women, girls, have been assaulted in Israeli detention. Does the PMO have comment on the funding and those reports of abuse?
We absolutely and categorically reject those reports. Unfounded reports. We don't see, we don't feel that they hold water. This is a clear attempt by some to draw a moral equivalence between the atrocities perpetrated by Hamas against Israeli civilians, women, girls, children, girls raped in front of their families, and then their parents killed in front of them. The atrocities of October 7th were on such a level, but yet still people are trying to deny them, and now people are trying to draw this false moral equivalence. Our soldiers act with the utmost moral clarity, and anyone who wavers that line is dealt with in the serious of ways.
Thank you. A second question from David Clement at the News Forum. The IDF has said that they are planning to move civilians out of Rafah before the offensive. Can you elaborate on the steps taken to notify civilians on how to flee and what will be done to ensure safe passage?
So I can't speak specifically to operational activity that hasn't begun. What I can say is that there are clear historic precedents. Dare I say historic precedents because they happened in recent months, by which we already evacuated mass numbers of Gazan civilians. We took them out of the line of fire because our fight is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza. So what we've already done and what we've already achieved in the north and center of Gaza will be done with Rafah as well. As my Prime Minister said from the beginning, he requested for a plan from the IDF, a two-pronged plan. One, to evacuate the civilians, and two, to eliminate Hamas. Let's make it clear that if we do not destroy the last 4 Hamas battalions in Rafah, we will have not completed the war. We will have lost the war because Hamas will just rearm. They could retake Gaza And we'll return to a reality that we found ourselves in on October 6th, by which Hamas wants to perpetrate October 7th again and again and again. This is a brutal, genocidal terror organization that must be destroyed. And that's exactly what we'll do.
Thank you. Question from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Can Israel confirm that the Biden administration has given the green light for limited operations in Rafah?
Joel, thanks for the question. I've certainly seen the reports that you're referencing. Israel is a sovereign state. Israel needs, like I've said, Israel needs to eliminate the last 4 Hamas battalions in Rafah. It's a matter of time. We will destroy Hamas, we will bring home the hostages, and we will ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to the people of Israel.
Second question from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. How does Israel respond to reports that the US is about to slap sanctions on particular geographic areas in the West Bank, not just individuals accused of extremism?
Again, I've seen the reports. I don't have an official response to reports because they're not yet policy, and I don't know if they'll become policy. They're reports. What I can say is that depending on how you count them, there are between 500,000 to 800,000 Israelis living beyond what's known by some as the Green Line in Judea and Samaria and areas in Jerusalem. And the vast, vast, vast majority of those people are law-abiding citizens. It seems a bit strange to want to take any action against a tiny minority that are being dealt with by the police with the strictest of measures. I think this is an internal Israeli issue, and it is being dealt with. It's almost it would be almost like another country imposing sanctions on England because of football hooligan violence. It seems a bit strange to us.
Thank you. A last question from Jim Williams at Zenga International News Service, Washington, D.C. Given the increasing attacks by Iranian proxies, is Israel now fighting on 2 fronts?
Well, without putting me on the spot to count the fronts that we're fighting on, there are many of them, and it's more than 2. We have threats, as I've said in this briefing, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Gaza. The Houthi threat has not diminished either. Iran is at the top of the axis of terror. They are the puppet masters of Tehran, the tyrants of Tehran, and they are activating their proxies against us. But let us not forget that their fight is not just with Israel. Their fight is with the West. They've made that clear for decades. That we, in their sick worldview, are the little Satan, and America is the great Satan. That first they will come for the Saturday people, the Jews, and then they'll come for the Sunday people, the Christians. The world needs to be united along the lines of what my Prime Minister has been saying for 30 years, which is Iran poses a global threat, and we need to defend ourselves against the threats posed and the aggression of their proxies.
Thank you. That was the last question.
Thank you very much, and we'll be back at a different time on Monday. Thank you.